We're going to be talking about governance, risk and compliance and the enterprise security architecture functions from the point of view of cyber risk assessments. The expansion of cloud adoption, digital transformation, mobile computing and the Internet of Things has not only improved business efficiency, it has also broadened the attack surface for malicious actors. Companies now contend with ransomware, supply chain compromises, advanced persistent threats or APTs, insider threats, and increasingly sophisticated phishing campaigns that exploit both technological and human vulnerabilities. These realities highlight the urgent need for systematic ways of working that align business objectives with security practices, ensuring that organizational growth does not come at the cost of security weaknesses. Enterprise Security Architecture, or ESA, serves to operationalize the security strategy into the larger company architecture, thereby ensuring that protection mechanisms are aligned with business goals, regulatory requirements, and defined levels of risk tolerance. A central element of ESA is the cyber risk assessment process. The cyber risk assessment process is a structured methodology that enables companies to identify, evaluate, and manage cyber risks. By embedding the risk assessment within the architectural model, companies avoid treating security as an afterthought and instead integrate it into the foundations of their decision-making and resource allocations. This approach not only minimizes vulnerabilities but also allows leaders to balance protection against cost, innovation, and business opportunity. In this sense, ESA positions the risk assessment process as the engine that drives informed decision-making, prioritization, and resilience. ESA can therefore be understood as the structured practice of aligning security mechanisms with organizational strategies, processes, and technologies. It ensures that security controls are not deployed in isolation, but are instead woven seamlessly into the fabric of companies' operations. Importantly, ESA is not limited to technical blueprints. It functions as a management approach designed to make sure that every security decision is business-driven and risk-informed. There are multiple architectural models which influence ESA, including the Open Group Architecture Framework, or TOGAF, which emphasizes integrating business, information systems, and technology. There is also the Sherwood Applied Business Security Architecture, or SABS as it's more widely known, which explicitly uses risk management as the driver of architecture. And finally, there's the Zachman Framework, which provides an enterprise-wide view of architecture with security as a cross-cutting concern. Despite differences in emphasis, each framework highlights risk management as a central organizing principle. In practice, ESA plays a crucial role in risk management by bridging the gap between business requirements and security imperatives. This role can be understood in three ways. First, ESA facilitates strategic alignment by ensuring that security investments and controls are designed to support broader business objectives and reflect the company's risk appetite. Second, it promotes holistic integration by recognizing that effective security depends not only on technology, but also on people, processes, governance, and compliance requirements. Third, it enables dynamic adaptation and adaptation by building processes for continuous monitoring and adjustment as new threats, technologies, and regulations emerge. Within this context, cyber risk assessment is the systematic process through which companies translate these architectural goals into concrete proposals. The cyber risk assessment is defined as the structured identification, analysis, and evaluation of the likelihood and impact of threats exploiting vulnerabilities in systems, processes, or human factors. Its purpose extends beyond reducing risks. It is meant to enable risk-based decision-making, ensuring that mitigation strategies are appropriate to business needs and sustainable over time. Within ESA, the risk assessment process is cyclical and iterative, continuously feeding into governance structures, architectural design, and operational practices. Its objectives include identifying critical assets, understanding potential threats and vulnerabilities, quantifying and qualifying risks, prioritizing controls, ensuring compliance with regulations, and enabling company resilience. The first stage of the ESA's cyber risk assessment process involves establishing the context in which risks will be evaluated. This requires defining the scope of the assessment, including the systems, networks, and processes under review. It also involves understanding the business objectives that security measures must support, determining the company's risk appetite, and identifying applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Establishing context ensures that assessments remain aligned within the company's broader enterprise architecture and governance requirements. Once the context is clear, enterprises move on to identifying assets and stakeholders. Stakeholders include executives, regulators, IT staff, customers, and third parties whose interests or responsibilities intersect with these assets. Mapping assets to stakeholders ensures that both technical and business perspectives are incorporated into the assessment. Following asset identification, the process turns to threat identification. ESA emphasizes integrating threat intelligence into the step, ensuring that assessments are based on current knowledge of adversarial tactics and emerging attack patterns. Once threats have been identified, companies analyze vulnerabilities as normal by leveraging a SOC, a Security Operations Center. Remember, enterprise security architects do not undertake SOC work. ESA requires vulnerabilities be assessed across all architectural layers, data, applications, infrastructure, and human factors to avoid blind spots. Risk analysis may be qualitative, assigning values such as low, medium, or high, or quantitative using financial metrics such as annualized loss expectancy. ESA encourages combining both approaches, sometimes enhanced with scoring algorithms or simulation models to deliver balanced and accurate results. Evaluation provides a prioritized review of risks, allowing decision makers to focus on those most significant to business continuity. The next stage, risk treatment, involves deciding how to respond to identified risks. Options including mitigating risks by implementing controls, avoiding risks by discontinuing certain processes, transferring risks through insurance or outsourcing, or accepting risks that fall within tolerance levels. ESA ensures that risk treatment strategies are evaluated not only for technical soundness, but also for their alignment with business objectives and cost considerations. Documentation and reporting form the next step, and these are critical for ensuring that assessment results are actionable. Risk findings must be communicated in business language to executives while providing detailed registers of assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigation strategies to technical staff. ESA emphasizes transparency and traceability, ensuring that every security decision is backed by documented evidence from the risk assessment. A unique strength of ESA lies in its integration of risk assessment into the different layers of enterprise architecture. At the business layer, risks are evaluated in terms of strategic goals, competitive advantage, and customer trust. At the information layer, the focus is on data integrity, confidentiality, and availability. At the application layer, risks stem from coding flaws, insecure APIs, and misuse of software. At the technology layer, hardware failures, misconfigurations, and breaches are assessed. Finally, at the human layer, risks include insider threats, skills shortages, and cultural weaknesses. This layered approach ensures that risks are managed holistically and that no dimension of company activity is ignored. The cyber risk assessment within ESA is also closely tied to governance and compliance. Findings from assessments inform strategic policies, investment priorities, and accountability frameworks. They also ensure that companies meet legal and regulatory obligations, whether national laws or industry standards, and that they are able to demonstrate transparency during audits. ESA-driven assessments frequently align with established standards such as ISO 27005, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CORBIT, which provide additional structure and credibility to the process. To maximize effectiveness, ESA emphasizes best practices in conducting cyber risk assessments. These include adopting a risk-driven approach to architecture, leveraging automation and artificial intelligence to strengthen accuracy, integrating up-to-date threat intelligence, involving stakeholders from across the business, prioritizing high-value assets, and ensuring continuous improvement through regular reassessment. However, companies must also navigate challenges such as the complexity of large hybrid environments, resource constraints, subjectivity in qualitative assessments, the constantly changing threat landscape, and the difficulties of complying with multiple regulatory regimes simultaneously. Despite these challenges, ESA provides mechanisms to overcome them by emphasizing structured, repeatable processes and encouraging the use of automation where possible. Emerging trends are also shaping the future of ESA-driven risk assessment. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are being used to automate identification and predictive modeling of risks. Cyber risks are also being integrated into broader governance reporting, including environmental, social, and governance frameworks, reflecting their strategic priority and importance. We have explained what the cyber risk assessment means in the context of ESA. I hear you ask, though, what about GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance? How does it link into or overlap with the work undertaken by the separate GRC function? Now remember, the GRC risk team has a broader mandate. It ensures that security risks across the organization are managed consistently in alignment with governance policies, regulatory obligations, and the company's declared risk appetite. This means ESA provides the raw material, data insights, and structured assessments, while the GRC function ensures these assessments translate into company-wide risk oversight, accountability, and assurance. In other words, ESA supplies the detailed analysis, and GRC ensures that this analysis becomes actionable at the governance and compliance levels. The GRC risk team's oversight function is about ensuring that risk management is not confined to isolated technical silos, but operates across the entire organization. The GRC team is responsible for ensuring that these risks are visible at the executive and board levels, translated into business language that decision makers understand. It is also responsible for ensuring these risks are aligned with organizational policies and risk appetite, ensuring that treatment options, mitigate, transfer, accept, or avoid, are consistent with enterprise objectives. And finally, they are responsible for ensuring these risks are prioritized consistently across domains so that cybersecurity risks are evaluated alongside operational, financial, and reputational risks. Through oversight, the GRC team verifies that the ESA cyber risk assessment process is being carried out systematically, that results are integrated into risk registers, and that ownership of each risk is clearly assigned. The assurance aspect of the GRC risk team involves validating that risks are being managed effectively and in compliance with regulations, standards, and internal policies. Assurance means not only trusting but also verifying the ESA risk assessment outputs. This includes auditing the process, ensuring that ESA follows repeatable and transparent methodologies such as 27005 or NIST frameworks. It also includes validating control effectiveness, checking whether the risk treatments proposed by ESA are implemented and effective, for example, technical controls, process changes, and awareness programs. Also includes regulatory compliance, such as confirming that ESA's outputs meet obligations under regulations such as GDPR, HIPAA, PCI, DSS, and other relevant laws. And finally, reporting assurance to leadership by providing confidence to executives and boards that cyber risks are not only identified but also appropriately mitigated and monitored. Through these assurance activities, the GRC function effectively closes the loop between ESA's risk identification and treatment efforts and the organization's governance and compliance commitments. You can think of ESA and GRC as two parts of the same system. ESA produces the technical and operational analysis of risks, while GRC ensures that risks are owned and tracked, responses are aligned with corporate governance and policies, the board and senior management receive accurate business-relevant reporting, and that stakeholders, including regulators and auditors, gain confidence that risks are being managed responsibly. In short, ESA defines how risks are identified and assessed, while the GRC risk team ensures that these risks are managed consistently across the enterprise, reported to the right stakeholders, and validated through oversight and assurance. To end this, enterprise security architecture defines the cyber risk assessment process as a structured and iterative methodology that embeds security into organizational strategy, governance, and risk management. By ensuring that risks are assessed across every architectural layer, business, information, application, technology, and human, ESA ensures a comprehensive understanding of vulnerabilities and threats. The process begins with establishing context, identifying assets and threats, analyzing vulnerabilities, and continues through risk evaluation, treatment, documentation, and ongoing monitoring. Its objectives go beyond technical protection, encompassing governance, compliance, and resilience. While these challenges persist and they're added to by future trends and the challenges posed by various forms of complexity, ESA provides a framework for systematic risk-informed decision-making that protects company value while supporting growth. Ultimately, the cyber risk assessment process within ESA is not just a defensive tool, but a strategic enabler of trust, innovation, and sustainable success in an increasingly digital world.